Hi everyone, welcome back to Rising Community. So I am super excited about today's module because we are starting a series here in Rising Community called the Foundation Series. So this is all about building your life on a strong, stable, lasting foundation. So, the first five modules that we've been through in Rising Community, think of those as your blueprint, okay? Before you build a house, you're gonna draw up designs, and that's what we were doing with the first five modules, okay? We were looking at where we were at, what's our vision, what do we wanna put? What do we want to initiate? That's what those first modules were about. They were about allowing you the opportunity to look at your current life situation, analyze where you're currently at, make changes, shift things around, put new goals in place, and hopefully by now you have that pretty set. Okay. And that is always going to be there. You're always going to be constantly editing your vision. You're always going to be constantly editing your goals. You're always going to be analyzing where you're at, right? Because if you're not analyzing where you're at, if you're not measuring where you're at, then how do you know where you really are? So you're going to want to pull that stuff out. And I really recommend having your vision, your mission, your purpose, your beliefs, your goals, your affirmations. I really think that having those things like as the first few pages in a really nice notebook that you can always reference back to or look at every single day is very, very helpful. Again, that's your blueprint. Okay. So, with the foundation series, we're taking that blueprint and we're actually going to put it into action. We're actually going to take the steps and make the changes now. So, I'm really, really excited about this because I am very action oriented, I'm very change oriented. Like we have, discussed, and like you guys have likely read in Awakening the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, he talks a lot about dabbling. And many people will dabble. They're going to read the books over and over again. They're going to attend the seminars over and over again. They'll watch videos over and over again, and they'll have a lot of the knowledge, but they won't actually put what they know into action. And that is what separates success from non-success, right? So if your life is going one way right now and you want it to go another, you have to make change. You have to take radical action in order to change your life. So, this is an opportunity to build your life now, knowing what your true vision is, knowing what your heart really wants, knowing what type of lifestyle you want to have, knowing the type of relationship that you want to have, knowing maybe the type of house you want to have, knowing all of these things about yourself. Let's start putting down the foundations for you to have those things. So, in this series, we're going to be talking about self development, number one. That is the number one thing. You have to start thinking of yourself as a business or as a temple, something along those lines. And the first thing you need to do is create habits. You have to create healthy habits, create routines, create rituals. These are things that are going to help to ground you, okay, to help to ground down your energy, ground down your dreams, ground down your ideas so that you can be productive. We're going to talk a lot about self awareness. We're going to talk a lot about self love. We're going to talk about self-care, okay, making sure that you're doing the necessary things that you need to do. We're going to talk about self-confidence. We're going to talk about time management, etc. We're going to talk about a lot of different things that are going to help to make you the individual person as strong as you possibly can be. Then we're going to talk about relationships, right? Everyone's favorite thing. We're going to talk a lot about boundaries and how to set up and enforce healthy boundaries. We're going to talk about what a healthy partnership looks like. What does a healthy relationship look like? What does a healthy friendship look like? Okay. What does a healthy family relationship look like? So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about relationships. Once we have, you dialed in and you're connecting with other people, then we're going to talk about your finances, your career. We're going to talk about budgeting. I'll show you guys how to set up a budget and how to check in with that. We'll talk about saving. We'll talk about investing. We'll talk about professionalism. We'll talk about education, etc. Things like that. Okay, so that's what you guys can look forward to. This is going to be really, really helpful and really exciting. If you follow along with this and you implement these things in your life, your whole life is going to be forever changed from this one series. Okay, you're going to get tremendous benefit from taking the time out to build a strong foundation. You don't want to start building a relationship if you don't have a strong foundation. You don't want to start investing in something if you don't know how to properly manage your money. Okay, you don't want to commit to something you can't commit to if you haven't worked out the time management or your own personal boundaries. So this is going to be a really, really important and pivotal part of a lot of our journeys. Now, I talk about this all the time. You have to analyze yourself all the time. If you're not analyzing yourself, if you're not tracking something, you don't know where it is. You can't have really good growth, or you can't really plan if you're not keeping up with something. Like, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, you have to weigh yourself in order to know where you're at, right? You have to, if you're saying, okay, this week I'm going to try not eating fast food. Well, how do you know if that helped you? You have to measure it somehow, and you have to be consistent with your measuring. So you really have to find a way, and we've talked about this in previous modules, find a way to track your results, whatever works for you. So right now, what I want you to do this week is I want you to take out your old notes that we talked about and kind of see where you're at from the time that you started a Rising Community. Where are you at then, and where are you at now? Okay, so you've done a lot of this analyzing, but now I want you to analyze based upon your foundation. Okay, like, where are you foundationally at? Where are you foundationally at physically? Where are you foundationally at mentally, emotionally, spiritually? And then I really want you to look at your personality. These traits that I listed here, these come directly from Erikson's stages of development. So I want you to analyze, how dependable are you? How trustworthy are you? How autonomous are you? How much initiative do you take? Are you a self-starter? Are you someone who's able to get up and do what you need to do? Do you do it by yourself? Or can you rely on yourself? And this is an opportunity to be very, very honest with yourself. Being dishonest with yourself really hurts you the most, okay? You can try and make anyone believe anything about you, but if it's not true, if it's not who you really are, if you're deceiving yourself, it hurts you the most. So really look at your personality. Look at your bad traits, okay? It's easy to look at your good traits, but look at some of your more negative traits. And what of those traits do you need to change? What of those traits do you need to work on? Okay, so this is a very different type of analysis that we did initially, like in module 1 and 2. This is kind of more going forward. If I'm building myself up as a house, or if I'm looking at myself as a business, where am I at? What do I have to work with? Like, what type of foundation am I working with here? What type of material am I? Am I dirt, or am I a brick? Okay, like, really, really be honest with yourself. I have this in red here. And I have this in red because this is single-handedly one of the most important things that I did back in 2017 that really helped me to understand myself and to be more aware of myself. Self-awareness is so crucial. Okay, you need to know who you are inside and out. You need to be aware of the way that people perceive you. You need to be aware of your blind spots. You need to be aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. This test here, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, is such a amazing way to really analyze yourself and to learn more about yourself. And if you are a nerd like me, you will get really, really, really excited about this and really get into it. And I'm so obsessed with this. I'm constantly reading stuff about it, but it's so good. Okay. You can find it here. The link is here. Okay. 16personalities.com. You can put it in Google or you can type it in your browser. But take this test, and I want you guys to leave your type down below in the discussion. The discussion questions will be below this video, but I specifically want you guys to go take that test. It takes about 15 minutes or so. Read about your personality type, and it will change your life. I promise. Okay. Another thing I want you guys to look at is how well do you care for yourself? You know, how well do you eat? How well do you groom yourself? How well do you shower? Do you sleep properly? Okay. How well are you doing? Honestly. Honestly. Okay. So that's the self foundation we want to look at. Also, you want to look at, do I have a good routine? Do I have good values? Am I self-aware? Do I practice self-love? Do I practice self-care? Am I self-confident? Do I properly manage my time? Now, relationships. I want you to ask yourself, overall, do I have a pretty good quality of relationships? Okay. Do I have clear-cut boundaries? Are they enforced? Do people respect my time? Do they respect my energy? What about intimacy? Do I have any intimacy issues? Do I have any addiction issues? What's my family status like? What are my friendships like? My business partners? Okay. I also have here in red the 5 love languages test. This is another test I took back in 2017 that really helped me to identify something very important about myself. Okay, learning these love languages can be very, very important. So that way you learn, and this is one of the biggest things that I see, is that people aren't aware that not everyone receives love and gives love in the same way. Like some people are like, well, I gave this person all of my time, but maybe that person receives loves through gifts. Or maybe your partner does nice things for you, but you like to hear words. So this is something that will literally change all of your relationships. It'll change your romantic relationships. It'll change your friendships. It'll change your relationship with your family. It'll change your relationship with your children, with your business partners, with your coworkers. You'll start to understand and be able to look at people and identify, okay, maybe this person doesn't really like when I give them compliments. Maybe they don't receive that well. Maybe I need to, find out something that'll make their day easier, and maybe they'll appreciate me more. So that is a big game changer as well. Finally, I want you to analyze yourself financially and career-wise. How stable are you? Do you have a backup plan when it comes to your finances? Do you have savings? Do you have stocks? Do you have bonds? Do you have investments? How about your career? How stable is your career? Do you have a backup plan? What's your educational status? Okay, is that something you can fall back on? Are you budgeting monthly? Do you know your ins and outs? What are your investments looking like? How long do you have to put into them? How much are you going to get out of them? Just kind of look at the state of those types of things, okay? So this is just the beginning. We're going to go much farther and deeper into each of these every single week, but this is the foundation of the foundations course. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that this has got you thinking about where you're currently standing right now, especially as this is the beginning of the year. This is the perfect time to start to make changes. And I want you guys to realize this is a foundations course. Okay, foundation. So you're not building the house yet. You're just laying down the groundwork. That takes time. It's better to take the time and gradually build a strong foundation rather than just trying to slap together a foundation and building a house on a weak foundation that you're eventually going to have to go back and fix. Or that while you're in construction, parts of it are falling down. Okay, so recognize and realize that this is a process. It's going to take time. We're all there for each other, and I'm very excited about this. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week.